I just built the Reflex GX28, and here's my thoughts after going through the build process. Overall, it was a super simple build. I really enjoyed it. It was kind of fun because it was just pretty easy. I wanted to get into a few of my notes on the build process. Since the only other 28 scale pan car I've had is the Associated, that's where I'm gonna kind of draw a lot of my comparisons from. I think it'll be very easy for beginners, people that are new to the hobby, and maybe even not that mechanically inclined. So I think the simplicity of this car is great if you are feeling a little overwhelmed with the concept of building a car from a kit. And while this car is more on the affordable side, one thing I did notice was kind of the lack of stuff in the box. I mean, it has the complete car. It actually even has tires. The Associated comes with 3 or 4 of those front adjustment pieces in the box. So you can change your setup and experiment right out of the box instead of having to buy additional parts. Same for the side springs. So the Associated uses those plastic side springs. It comes with 3 options for that. And then this car, basically the only adjustability that you get out of the box is gonna be the rear side springs. You know, you could adjust the preload on those as well as the main shock. And then they do have like an adjuster on the friction plate. So I guess there are a couple things around the car that you can adjust. I don't wanna get too granular because this isn't a setup video. But overall, I think it would have been cool, you know, maybe if they could have snuck in some springs, like some different, you know, front springs, center spring, because basically as far as adjustment goes, it doesn't really have much out of the box. But again, that is part of why I got this car, is because I just wanted to see how it would be with like a super simple car. You don't have to be worried about, you know, turnbuckles going out of spec or kind of getting knocked if you get into any incidents on the track. So another thing that I want to compare was the plastics. So anything molded plastic, in my opinion, the Associated stuff seems a lot nicer. There was a lot less like excess. And also, I don't know why, but the Associated stuff, I have bought like, you know, some parts kits for it when I damage stuff. And the Associated parts seem to like snap off of the trees a little bit cleaner, which is not the biggest deal, but the plastics on the Associated do definitely feel a bit more premium, and the durability is something I'll just have to see as I drive it. And then another comparison to both the Associated as well as a lot of the other cars. So a lot of cars have a double A-arm front end. That is something that I did want to avoid. I really like the simplicity of the, you know, it's not infinitely adjustable, which if you're super good at setting up cars, I guess could be, you know, a downside. But these cars, just like the Associated, it has like camber blocks. You make the adjustments by replacing the part. So the adjustments are in set steps. Like for example, the front camber, there's a 0.5, a 1, and then a 2, I believe, or maybe a 1.5. But you know, they're in set steps, but you also know exactly where it is. So you don't have to have like any kind of a setup station or anything like that to try to figure this stuff out. And with the way that this front end goes together, I believe that it actually will be easier and faster to swap at the track. So a lot of times in practice, time is limited. You may only get a handful of sessions in. So if you want to make changes, you want to change it, then feel it out, and then know if you want to, you know, keep moving in that direction, stay there, go back to what you had before. I do think that the front end on the GX is going to be super fast to change things like the camber pins and the front springs if you want to make adjustments. I'm actually packing up right now to head up to area for my first race with it. But the biggest thing that I'm really stoked about with the Reflex is a lot of the mod cars I've driven had a super free moving rear end. Like the side to side motion on the rear ends were just way more free than I was ever able to get the Associated. Even with the soft side links and, you know, decreasing the preload on the shock, I wasn't able to get the rear end to just feel as free. So I'm really excited for the GX because I was able to get the rear end super free, and I'm also excited because overall the chassis kind of seems like it should be relatively low maintenance. I mean, it's just got a friction damper. It'll be just some cleaning, any lubricated parts, getting all that track dust out of there. But that being said, there's one concern that I have with maintenance on this car, and that's actually gonna be the rear pivot. It has a bearing in here and then another bearing at the very bottom of the chassis. And they're pretty open, and I just worry that as you run, you'll get a bunch of dust up in there. And now those actually will require a decent amount of a disassembly to actually get inside there and clean them properly. And then my last nitpick with the car is that you do actually have to trim the MF1 body to fit. I'm getting a little bit of clipping on the rear tires with the wheel well. So I'm gonna have to see if any of my friends at the Dremel have a, oh God. So I'm gonna have to see if any of my friends at the track have a Dremel Otherwise, I'll be running the PNC9. I am excited to try the MF1 body as well because it looks like it has a super low CG and it seems super durable. From the perspective of just the build, I would definitely say that this is a beginner-friendly car and it shouldn't be too big of a problem to get it built. But that's been my kind of post-build thoughts on the Reflex GX28. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it, and if you have one, I'd love any input, any setup tips you've got, anything you found, tricky to navigate with it. Also be posting a building tips video for kind of some of the things in the build process that I wanted to dive a little deeper into. So stay tuned for that one, and I'll let you guys know how this thing does at the track.